Good morning from KLI 2. This morning I'm flying on Air India on the Airbus A320neo to Delhi. Air India restarted this route a few months ago and I'm keen to find out how the airline does on this route. So let's get checked in. KLI 2 was buzzing at this early hour with a constant stream of cars dropping off travelers, but it was quiet inside with most shops and restaurants still closed. The real buzz was of course at the check-in concourse, which looked like Christmas Eve. Air India, despite being a full-service airline, operates out of KLI 2, which is essentially a low-cost carrier terminal. The Air India check-in counters were located at row Z at the extreme right end of the terminal. There were no queues when I reached there. Alright, check-in was completed in less than 10 minutes and now it's time to head to immigration and security. It took around 15 minutes to get through immigration and security check and I was released into the international section of the terminal. So my flight to Delhi today departs from gate P15, which is supposed to be extremely far from where I am. So it's going to be a fair bit of walk this morning. KLI 2 has a duty-free area, but since it was still quite early, most stores were still closed. Despite catering mainly to low-cost carriers, this terminal does have a lounge. Air India uses the Travel Club lounge here at KLI 2. Let's see how it looks like. The lounge appears small and cramped with limited seating area and a small bar in the middle. So I'm at the Travel Club lounge at KLI 2. This is a small contract lounge being used for Air India's premium and business class passengers. I've finished my immigration and security and have just about an hour to go before departure, so I'm just going to catch some quick breakfast now. Let's take a look at the food and drink selection at this lounge. There's a variety of soft drinks followed by a section which had fresh fruit, pastries and yogurt. There was also a self-serve salad bar and breakfast cereal on offer. There are plenty of hot food options which include Malaysian, Western and even Indian breakfast specialities. After a short stay at the lounge, it's now time to head to the gate. It's going to be a fair bit of walk still to gate P15 and we have just over 45 minutes to go before our departure. On the way to the boarding gates, there is a row of branded outlets which give this terminal a more premium feel. Unlike the KLI main terminal, KLI 2 has a common security checkpoint beyond which are the boarding gates. After another long walk, I finally arrive at gate P15 where boarding was just about to begin. Alright, boarding has commenced and I'm making my way to the Airbus A320neo of Air India. Taking me to Delhi today is a 6-year-old Airbus A320neo VT-CIO. I still can't believe I'm boarding an Air India aircraft at Kuala Lumpur. I'm seated in 27F, a starboard window seat right at the back of the aircraft. Hello from seat 27F on board this Air India A320neo. Let's do a quick seat review now before my seatmates arrive. The seat pitch on Air India's A320neos is quite tight, and the knee room that you see is carved out of the seat in front of you. There's a tray table and a literature pocket above it, but no IFE screens or storage space for anything else. The thin armrest has a seat recline button built into it. The seat backs on this Recaro seats are super thin and have no proper headrests, very LCC-like. The seat upholstery still reflects the old Air India red and yellow colors. As there are no IFE screens, the cabin crew conduct a manual safety briefing after we close the doors. We push back around 15 minutes behind schedule and the CFM LEAP engines powered up. KLI-2 has a nice little overpass connecting the two concourses of the terminal, and we taxied underneath it. We took off in the northwesterly direction and banked right to fly over the outskirts of Kuala Lumpur city, giving us a great view of the city's famous landmarks. So we've just taken off from Kuala Lumpur and flight time today to Delhi is going to be about 5.5 hours. A long time really to go on this A320neo without any seatback IFE screens. Let's take a look at the safety card, which already bears the new Air India branding and logo. It's well illustrated with easy to read text in English and Hindi. The tray table folds out like this and is of standard size but is decently sturdy. As it's a morning departure, breakfast is served on this flight, and the non-vegetarian option consisted of an omelette, a chicken sausage and hash brown dipped in a tomato sauce gravy thing, along with cut fruits, coleslaw sandwich and a croissant. Air India serves this biodegradable cutlery, which in my opinion is a very poor substitute for steel cutlery. Let's see how the meal tastes like. I am disappointed at the meal quality. It is barely edible, as you can see for yourself. So the breakfast on this flight was not that great. The omelette was too salty and the chicken sausage was burnt. Air India has been known to have great catering historically, but on this flight it was pretty disappointing. An hour and a half into the flight, we passed over southwestern Thailand and into southern Myanmar. As there are no IFE screens, it's best if you bring your own IFE on board this Air India A320neo. So it's been about 3 hours since we took off from Kuala Lumpur, and we have about 2.5 hours to go before our landing into Delhi. Let's do a quick loo review. The restroom was pretty standard for an A320neo and was kept clean. There were absolutely no amenities, however, except for a bottle of hand wash soap. One would expect to see at least some moisturizer or hand cream on 5-hour plus flights. As mentioned before, these Recaro slim seats don't have headrests, so it's difficult to find a comfortable position if you want to take a nap. So we're flying somewhere over northern India, and I can see the snow-clad peaks of the Himalayas in the distance. It is the beginning of winter and the peaks are all snow-capped. It's truly a gorgeous sight if you ever fly through this area.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, कुछ ही देर में हमारा विमान नीचे उतरेगा।
The crew announced that we would begin our descent into Delhi soon and that we would have an on-time arrival today. Alright, let me quickly summarize my experience on this flight. Air India has a long way to go if it wants to compete with other Asian carriers. The A320neos are cramped with thin LCC-style seats and need to be refurbished soon. AI has introduced Wi-Fi streaming-based IFE, but this aircraft had no instructions whatsoever on how to access it. The food was salty and hardly edible. All in all, it was a very mediocre and disappointing experience today on Air India. We approached Delhi from the east and came in to land on runway 29er left. Delhi was hazy due to smog from all the farm fires in neighboring states, but at least the sun was out.
It is pleased to announce 17 minutes before time arrival in Delhi. Welcome to Indira Gandhi International Airport Terminal 3, where the temperature outside is 20 degrees Celsius. Please remain seated and do not open the overhead bins until the seatbelt sign is switched off.
We had a before time arrival today, so credit to Air India in the punctuality department at least. Excuse me. Sorry. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Welcome to Indira Gandhi International Airport, Delhi. We've had a before time arrival today from Kuala Lumpur. Delhi's Terminal 3 is massive and I have a long walk to the arrivals area. Delhi Terminal 3's design means that you may need to walk for almost a kilometer before reaching the arrivals area. But the terminal is beautifully designed and was not crowded at this hour. The immigration area is another matter though, and there were long queues at all counters. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this review and see you on my next flight.